John Brown's got another special for you, Paul.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. Finally, some respect for ACT here.
That's right. And, you know, the special is fantastic, right? The ACT cans, Paul, I'm going to have you talk about ACT as soon as I'm done telling this, but are going to be triple QV on the ACT cans through Monday. So you want to get on it now. ACT cans through Monday. I'll post the details in the comments. Tell us, Paul, why should we drink ACT?
Listen, Sean, it is the feel-good energy drink. You drink one of those and you just feel like $1 million. So it's not Red Bull where it's got a lot of chemicals in it. It's actually the world's first healthy energy drink. So you drink one of those and you just feel amazing. And it doesn't give you wings like Red Bull does, but it just puts you right back to where you're supposed to be. And it's actually a great segue into the next speaker. Because Dr. Wallach is the legend that gets to the root cause of things. So what Dr. Wallach has done is researched what minerals, what vitamins, what amino acids are the root cause of us being tired. Now, the number one cause of people being tired is the lack of certain minerals, certain vitamins, and certain amino acids, which are in this ACT drink. So when you drink one of these, you just feel awesome again, because it's replenishing the root cause of why you're tired in the first place. So as I mentioned, our next speaker is the legend, Dr. Wallach. So back in 1995, I got this audio cassette in the mail called Dead Doctors Don't Lie. It's the greatest health recording of all time, greatest health lecture. It has changed millions of lives. I have actually dedicated my entire life to sharing this message with people. I share this message with people every single day. Dr. Wallach has connected over 900 different diseases to a nutritional deficiency. And again, he asked the question, why? Why are people having these problems? So he traced it back and didn't just put a piece of duct tape over the problem. He found the root cause of why these problems are happening in the first place. He's one of the greatest veterinarian doctors of all time. He has a book in the Smithsonian Institute. He has dozens of books he's written and a new book coming out. We're probably going to talk about that for maybe a moment today. You got to go watch this thing called The Audacity of Health. It's a documentary, 40 minutes long, best 40 minutes you'll ever spend in your life learning about this legend. I am beyond grateful for this man. I have had the privilege of touring with him and being on the road with him. And he's an unbelievable. Like I can't even keep up with this man. He's does circles around me. I have to take like 2 weeks off after I go on tour with him. So he has the most famous saying of all time: give the body what it needs and it will do amazing things. So without further ado, I bring on the legend, Dr. Wallach.
Well, thank you, everybody, and my goodness gracious, two great
Dr. Wallach, I'm sorry. I need you to adjust your camera, push it down just a little bit, and move it perfect. There you go. You got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
There we go. We've got the
Coach.
timer.
Thank you, Coach. Okay, this is going to be a little difficult, but we'll do our best. All right. Thank you very much. And all the wonderful people who have talked. Okay, and we're talking about Paul and Dr. Glidden and Victoria and of course Tom and Cheryl and everybody. Appreciate you and all the wonderful messages I'm seeing here online. Just very quickly, the thing that makes me different.
Dr. Wallach, you need to put your phone down. You're shaking it. Put your phone down.
I'm trying to keep it from falling over.
Oh, okay. All right. Just like we normally discussed it. You're looking great. Go for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right. We'll hope and pray there's no earthquake. Okay, in California. All right. Basically, I learned about all this 72 years ago when I was 9 years old. I had a problem that they didn't have a name for. Today it would be autism and basically, I was very destructive, very busy making people's lives miserable and destroying things and so forth. And started when I was 4, got worse and worse and worse by the time I was 9. The last of 20 doctors, they took me to 20 doctors that were trying to do all talk therapy for 5 years. And Mary Jane Skeffington was her name. She was a childhood psychiatrist and eye doctor and everything. And she said I needed to be institutionalized. And I asked my mother, what does that mean? She says, well, they're going to put you in a hospital. So, well, how long am I going to be in there? And she said, well, you might be there for the rest of your life. Well, to a 9-year-old, that didn't sound very good. So I went home that night, and everybody else went to sleep. We lived on a little Angus farm in Missouri, and everybody else went to sleep. And I'm thinking, why is it I'm having these problems and nobody else is? Why is it that I have, today would be called autism and Tourette syndrome? And I said, you know, animals don't have these problems. So that night, I went out to the barn and I started eating the calf pellets. You know, they're little alfalfa pellets with all the 90 essential nutrients in them. And to make a long story short, in 3 days' time, I was cured. After 5 days, or excuse me, 5 years of getting worse and worse and worse and worse and being destructive and hurting people and being dysfunctional and everything. In 3 days, I was cured. And it was very dramatic to me. So to make a long story short, when I graduated high school, I went to University of Missouri, got a degree in agriculture. My major was in animal husbandry and nutrition. I wanted to know what these animals were eating and why they gave it to them. We don't have health insurance for farm animals. We have life insurance for expensive horses, but we don't have health insurance for farm animals. So a farmer doesn't want to be paying, you know, for diseases that are preventable with a few nutrients. So they just put all these nutrients in the animal's food every day. And I thought, well, gosh, maybe we should do that for people too. So got my degree in agriculture. I got into veterinary school, and halfway through veterinary school, I had to earn some money. So I started working in the pathology department, helping with autopsies and stuff. It was Christmas, 1961. Everybody goes on vacation. I'm there by myself, a veterinary student and a pathology student. And I began to do these autopsies, and they brought me 50 bodies for what 500 animals died, 500 sheep died on one farm in one night, and it was the middle of December. And I'm making a long story short, I found out that these animals had been for months, these sheep had been getting nitrate fertilizer in their drinking water, and they had goiter, they had hemoglobin, but why did all 500 die in one night? Well, it turns out that in the middle of Missouri, in wintertime, it could be 55 to 70 degrees. And it was 55, 60. And the night they all died, 500 died in one night, the temperature dropped to 19 degrees. And because their thyroid was gone, they had, instead of their thyroid lobes being the size of an almond, they were the size of plums, and a very obvious goiter. And so they died of hypothermia. Got it written up, got it published. I was the only author. The professor said, look, we were gone. This is your baby. So I published it in scientific journals and veterinary journals. I gave copies to everybody. One person I gave copies to was Marlon Perkins from the old Mutual Omaha Wild Kingdom show. And he understood the importance of what I had done more than I did. I was just happy to be doing the autopsies. And he went to NIH, got a $25 million grant, and I was actually in Africa working on the White Rhino Conservation Project. He says, I just got $25 million based on your study. I need to have you come back and be the pathologist on the project. Over a 10-year period at Washington University in St. Louis, did 20,000 autopsies, 17,000 and some change of over 454 species of zoo animals and 3,000 humans, like 20 million chemistries, and learned there was no genetically transmitted diseases. There's no genetically transmitted diseases. There's no genetically transmitted birth defects. Okay, there's birth defects from fetal alcohol syndrome. There's birth defects from measles and chicken pox during early pregnancy, but there's no genetic birth defects. So all the other birth defects are simply caused by nutritional deficiencies of the developing embryo. As a result, my thesis is in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. I'm not telling you that to brag. I'm telling you that to give you credibility for what I'm going to say next. Okay, and to make a long story short, Milan and I went to Kishan province, and through the connections of her family and herself with the medical schools there, Milan's a microsurgeon, okay, and so at any rate, She taught and did research at Harvard and so forth. And so we did 1,700 autopsies on kids under the age of 10 who had died of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease. And 35% had cystic fibrosis, 100% had muscular dystrophy. We gave the information to Jerry Lewis, and the Muscular Dystrophy Association fired Jerry Lewis and stopped the telethon. That's why you don't see them anymore. And then 200 of the 1,700 were under 1 year of age, and they would have been diagnosed with sudden death syndrome. It was all published in 1990 in 3 languages. The English version is in the Journal of Trace Element Research. You can look it up and see that we're not lying to you. And then it was one of those things where we've been fighting, and through Cheryl Morley's husband, who I introduced her to it and got him married, so to speak, was the best man at their wedding. That's another long story, another day. But at any rate, her husband, Jonathan Emord, has done all these 10 lawsuits against the FDA and federal court. We've prevailed every time to do good things for nutrition for the American people and people in the world. Well, April 16, 2013, a federal judge approved putting the trace mineral selenium into baby formulas. Medical doctors said selenium is so toxic and poisonous, there should not be any selenium in baby formulas. So all the deficiencies of selenium, cystic fibrosis, muscular dystrophy, okay, were thought to be genetic. It was really just a simple deficiency of selenium. Well, 6 months later, it was, I think, September 13th, 2014, the front page of the Charlotte Observer, big newspaper for Charlotte, North Carolina, kind of like the New York Times or New York. We don't know why. I mean, we're talking bold headlines, big, like Third World War started. We don't know why, but sudden death syndrome has vanished, is the word that has vanished from North Carolina. 3 months later, the same thing was said from Missouri. And then 3 months later, every newspaper in every part of the country came out and said, we don't know why, but the rate of sudden death syndrome has dropped dramatically by 85 to 95% in all states. That's because we put selenium into the baby formulas. Before that, we were using kids' toddy in babies' formulas, and the rate of sudden death syndrome was slowly dropping. But once they put it in that baby formula, the selenium, it ended sudden death syndrome. Only 2% of the babies who were diagnosed with sudden death syndrome were in bed with their mothers when they died. You know, this thing that mothers laid on the babies because doctors didn't know what the answers was. They were going to take the blame for being ignorant, so they blamed it on the mothers. Only dead doctors don't lie. Okay. Now, with all that said, we have so much good stuff going on. I want to kind of go back to 2006 here, okay? Dr. Milan and I, okay, and Dr. Jennifer Daniels, okay, and 2 MDs and me, okay, came out, and we published Black Gene Lies, okay, and it's also a CD, Black Gene Lies, and it covers diseases that are said to be genetic in the Black community, like high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. We're looking at arthritis, osteoporosis. We're looking at obesity. We're looking at cancer, none of which are genetic, but doctors tell the Black community it is genetic, and the only thing they can do is treat the symptoms until they die. It's all nonsense, okay? And if you get everybody, if you get everybody in the Black community, every Black kid in America, every Black kid in the world needs to read this book and listen to the CD. We have a new book coming out, okay, which kind of brings everything up to date. It's all in your head, okay? This is coming out. It's at the printer now as we speak, okay? It covers about 25 diseases that are in your head, all second to osteoporosis of the skull. There's 12 pairs of cranial nerves. There's a spinal cord, all of which are made in the brain and come out of the skull through tunnels. And when you have osteoporosis, your bones actually get bigger, okay? Not with minerals, but with connective tissue. And this connective tissue fills in these tunnels and puts pressure on the nerves. And you get 25 different diseases, okay, or more. Let's see, cranial nerve number 1, okay, is the olfactory nerve, and you lose your sense of smell over a period of time. And then number 2, the second cranial nerve is the optic nerve. When it gets squeezed, you get ONA, optic nerve atrophy. Your vision gets blurry, and they give you lenses in your glasses, and you don't have any other eye disease, but you're slowly losing your vision. All right. And so it's the optic nerve being squeezed by this connective tissue in the skull. The third cranial nerve, your pupils won't work properly. That's why doctors put a light in your eye to see if your pupil is working properly. Okay. And that has to do with the light hitting the nerves and so forth. And then the trochlear nerve number 4, what happens here is it messes up the control of your eye movement. The fourth cranial nerve, it controls your eyes to go up and down and right and left. What happens is your eyes will just look in towards your nose and you get off balance. You don't want to be going up and down stairs with that. And then the trigeminal neuralgia, you get pain in your face because the fifth cranial nerve causes pain in your face when it gets squeezed. And then the abducens nerve, okay, again, that sixth cranial nerve that has to do with the position of the eyes. And the facial nerve, seventh cranial nerve, when it gets squeezed, you get Bell's palsy. Okay, that's the seventh cranial nerve. And then you get the number 8, the vestibulocochlear nerve. We get so many people call in. They have tinnitus ringing in the ear. That's the squeezing of the vestibular branch of the 8th cranial nerve. And you hear this tinnitus or ringing, you slowly get deaf. That's the auditory branch of the 8th cranial nerve. The vestibular branch of the 8th cranial nerve, you get balance problems. It used to be called vertigo or Meniere's disease. Now it's called Wallach's vertigo because it's not an autoimmune disease or genetic disease like doctors would say. It's just simply squeezing that vestibular branch of the 8th cranial nerve. And then the 9th cranial nerve, the glossopharyngeal nerve, your voice changes. You hear it. People get older, they kind of speak funny and everything. That's because that 9th cranial nerve is being squeezed and it controls your vocal cord and your larynx. And people say, I feel like I've got something in my throat. I swallow and I can't get rid of that feeling. The 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, is a big one. It's the longest cranial nerve. It goes from your brain all the way down to your tailbone. And when it gets squeezed, you get things like hiccups. The branch of the 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, that's being squeezed is the recurrent nerve. Okay. You get atrial fibrillation. Your heart does flips and flops and things. There's a congressman from Baltimore, Maryland, okay, by the name of Elijah Cummings. Okay, he was a congressman in Maryland for over 20 years, and he had this osteoporosis of the skull, causing him to have atrial fibrillation, heart bouncing around. They anesthetized him, cut his chest open, and he was using a soldering iron to try and kill portions of his heart to stop it from doing weird things. And they killed him on the table. Just
4
osteoporosis.
minutes, Doc. 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
Okay, so at any rate, then the spinal cord, when it gets squeezed, used to be Erb's palsy. Babies are born with it. They're sort of paralyzed from the neck down. Okay, and you can get it as an older person. They'll say, "Oh, you have carpal tunnel syndrome," right? And I urge you to contact all of your people, especially, and we have Spanish stuff. The CD, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, is in 9 languages. We need to get this information out there. We have 5,000 products to deal with over 900 different diseases. We do have one more thing I want to share with you, a little book called Wall Street for Kids, 5th grade reading level. It teaches you how to build a business, get the tax breaks of billionaires, make your longevity business a willable asset. It doesn't get any better than that. Really, 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 now we have Zoom, we have Facebook, we have all this stuff in addition to live meetings. Please get this information out. We have tools. We have, this will be the 15th book we have coming out. People say, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I don't know what to do. Everybody will give the same answer to the same question if they use the same tools. And I cannot thank our team for putting all this together and doing great stuff. God bless each and every one of you, and look forward to working with you for over 300 years.
Keep him on. We're going to keep you on for a minute. Everybody is going crazy in the comments. You are a true world, not American hero, a true world hero, sir. And
oh, thank you.
What's your hat say? I'm telling you, he is at home and he is promoting. And Dr. Wallach knows if he's not promoting, nobody else is. And the name of the game is he makes hundreds of calls a day. I am telling you, he is everything we all want to be when we grow up. He doesn't rely on technology. He uses a telephone. He goes to meetings. And I am telling you, it is 90 for life all the time. And I love the no gluten message because the world really needs that no gluten message right now, don't they, Doc?
Yeah, well, let me take, if I may, 1 minute on the gluten issue.
Sure.
Okay, you know, we have all these pre-existing conditions that are, you know, set you up for pandemics and all these other diseases and being killed by doctors because, you know, when you have all these pre-existing conditions, you go to the doctor and he said, oh, you have high blood pressure, I'm going to give you this medication, medication kills you. Oh, I have diabetes. They gave me medication, medication killed me, and so forth. Well, the beauty is that all of these pre-existing conditions are not genetic. Remember, there's no genetic diseases. These are all nutritional deficiency diseases. And so a hair analysis, the book Rare Earth Forbidden Cures, chapter 11, tells you how to collect the hair, where to ship it, how to determine if you're not absorbing anything, what nutrients are low, so you have to give extra and so on. It's an amazing thing, that little hair analysis. Now, I'm going to talk about one little disease here, okay? And there's this little Japanese disease they're all talking about now. What's that one? All these Japanese guys get it?
What is it?
Kawasaki's disease.
Kawasaki's disease. There you go. Somebody knew it. Okay, Kawasaki's disease. They get aneurysms. 5-year-olds get aneurysms. They get artery disease. And they say, oh, it's an autoimmune disease. No, it's a simple deficiency of a single nutrient. We have literally millions of experiments in the animal industry with every species of animal you can think of. And one single mineral deficiency causes what they call Kawasaki disease in humans. You do a hair analysis on all your kids and see if they're, you know, what they're deficient in or if they're doing everything right. If they are taking all the 90 essential nutrients and they're not absorbing anything, all the nutrients will be low because, again, you are what you absorb. And the gluten will destroy the lining of your intestines. It's not an on-off switch. The gluten destroys your intestine over a period of years. See, people say, I've been eating oatmeal for breakfast for 50 years. Why suddenly isn't it a problem? Well, because now you have 85% of your intestine destroyed, whereas when you were a 4-year-old, you could get diseases and it was like a common cold. Today, you're 80 years old, you get that same disease, it kills you.
Right.
Because you can't get enough nutrition to build antibodies and white blood cells to kill viruses and bacteria and all the other stuff. Okay? And so this is not difficult, but you got to get off all the bad foods as well as taking the good foods, okay? I've been taking the 90 essential nutrients and been gluten-free for 72 years.
Wow.
I'm 80 years old. I don't have any wrinkles, okay?
Yeah.
No facelifts.
And a lot of energy.
Yeah, a lot of energy. I have all my teeth except one, which was knocked out in a fight. And you should have seen the other 3 guys.
I love it. You are a true warrior, Dr. Wallach, and we appreciate you so much. You are our leader. You are our captain. And we would be in a bad place without you. So thank you for all that you do. And I know this next gentleman coming up to speak